Good evening, Twitch.tv. My name is Markus Olodyn Koskivirta, and this is the Hearthstone.fi Monday Night Community Tournament number 27. We're already up to 27, if you can believe it. We're powered by Hearthstone, a Finnish web services company, and we are currently offering 50 euros to the winner and 17 WCS points to the whole tournament participants, 10 of which go to the winner. Today's semi-final number 1 will be Tristan from Sweden versus Random from Germany. I'll tell the players to start going. And we can join both their match as they start playing. You might remember Random from last week. He was also with us and had quite good success in the tournament. He ran the same 3 classes, Druid, Rogue and Warlock, while Tristan runs Hunter, Warlock and Warrior. Let's join the game on a random side of the board. Out of all these classes, only the Rogue is pretty much able to be called outright that it is an oil rogue, because there are really no other meta rogues currently in rotation. Gang up Mill Rogue is just not high level enough to be ran at this level. While Warlock can have Handlock or Zoolock or even the Demon Lock variants, and Warriors can both have either the Control Warrior or the newer variation of your new charging three minions which spawn a new minion afterwards. I'm currently trying to remember the name of that minion, I'm sorry. I'm sure I'll get that later. And then Hunters can be in mid-range or face Hunters. As you can obviously see, Tristan has decided to start off with his Zoo Warlock. And Zoo versus Rogue is actually, I believe it's pretty close right now. It's possibly a little bit in favor of the Zoo Warlock, especially if it is a mid-range version, which this does seem to be with the power overwhelming. On the other hand, the Squire is also one of the more lower on the curve variants of the Zoo lock, so we'll have to wait and see what other cards there are. Of course, every one of them runs Doomguard, but something like Imp, Gang, Boss would indicate more of a mid-rangey version. Random decides to go for the Poison Clear with the Hero Power. I don't blame him. Having bounced one of these Flame Imps back already, it's now a bigger priority to start clearing out the board. And the Heal Bot plus Shredder were not able to be played. The Final Knives would have done very little except pop this Divine Shield, so we might as well try and deny the maximum amount of damage from the opposing player. The Shredder is pretty much an automatic drop right now. You clear the 3-2 with your own weapon. No reason to prep the knives or anything else. For Tristan's side of the board, his hand is really difficult with Boom and Doomguard. Plus the power overwhelming. You will probably see the power go on the egg, so it can destroy this Shredder and spawn your 4/4 on the board. Also nicely works with Hero powering Void Walker on this turn. Downside being that this Mad Bomber will be able to trade into the Void Walker, but I think you'll be able to live with that downside. For Random though, this sap right now does very little. In an optimal world, you want to hold on to the sap so you can pop the Doomguard back into their hand, force them to discard more cards. When it comes to tempo though, popping this Nerubian back is not bad either. I personally would like to see the Antique Heal Bot because it builds the board at least somewhat and it takes you out of the danger zone, so to speak. The full health restore would be able to be used. He opts to go for the tempo play with the sap into the Nerubian, forcing the Warlock to replay it from their hand. And although 3 mana for 4/4 is definitely not bad, it's actually better than your average amount of stats, it's still completely outplayable at this stage. On turn 5, Nerubian plus 100 Creeper. Very, very basic. Doing the trades you would expect him to do, because he wants to establish board control as a Zoo Warlock and then just roll over the opposing player while they're trying to answer your minions. Sassy Deckhand plus Tinker's Sharp Sword Earl is not a bad combo, but against this board, especially when you have only one charge in your knife, it's not that great. Ideally, you would want to pop the 1-2 Spider before going for the Fan and Knives play, but there's really no way for you to do that except using your Sassy Deckhand as just a charge into the 100 Creeper, and that's really bad if you want to, or if you're forced to do that. There's not enough mana to redo your dagger and then Sassy Tinkers, so those are probably just gonna stay in his hand. Antique Healbot on turn 6. Yep, it delays the game somewhat. You'll feed the Healbot to the Nerubian more than likely, and this means that the Nerubian is within range of the Fan of Knives. So, I respect the Healbot play. It's not 100% optimal when it comes to mana, but it's definitely better than wasting that South Sea Tinker combo on just a 1 charge dagger. Interestingly enough, he wants to go for the attack on the 100 Creeper. Yeah, I think your burst as a rogue isn't high enough to push for the face damage, so in that regard it is the correct move, but doesn't really establish anything significant. Well, it does get cleared with the Fan. Oh, well, with the power overwhelming play, it actually is irrelevant. In an optimal world, we would have, of course, wanted to have popped the Creeper anyway. Backstab onto the Nerubian. And you could, in theory, work with 2 damage from a Fan of Knives if you had the Thalnos. But without that, you really want to see something like the Blade Flurry coming up from the Fan of Knives itself. Just letting Jake please know he's one of our other contestants in the semifinals, that we are indeed playing this match first. It'll take a short while, but I'm sure they can understand that in order for us to grant these WCS points for BlizzCon, we actually have to stream all the top 4 matches. So means these semifinals cannot be played at the same time. Now, the Fan of Knives would actually do something, probably end up by you taking something like 8 damage to the face, pushing you within range of Doomguard, but when you're holding onto the Fan of Knives and no targets, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. The SS7 Agent top deck, you would be able to push 2 damage to the 7-6. I don't think there's a way out right now. If you redo daggers, prep Tinker, you don't have enough mana for the SS7 Agent. And without the Tinker, even if you were to go for the damage onto the 7-6 with the 4 attack dagger plus the SS7 Agent activation, would still be at 3. And at 3 that Doomguard will be able to come out. And that'll be it. The end of this match. So, first match going to the Swedish player Tristan, who is actually a part of the Leaf Gaming esports organization. So, props to him. While we're waiting for the match to end, I'm also answering the players. Pretty cool, and Chick Please will more than likely be the second semifinal we'll be joining today. I'll have to, of course, have to look into that too to result in what that is all about. But since we've seen Tristan take the win with his Zulok, he's either got the Hunter, which is the face or the mid-range, or the warrior to pick from. And random's lineup of rogue, druid, warlock. Well, random is hanging out in the main. I'm guessing that's just an error when it comes to the... Yeah, it's probably just a visual error when it comes to the client. I think Tristan wants to go for the aggressive hunter play, because if you get the win from the hunter, it's more than likely face hunter, I'm betting. If you get the win from the hunter, then your warrior, even if it is Grim Patron, that's the card I was thinking about. Grim Patron warrior should be able to eke out one win from the 3 Druid, Rogue, or Warlock setup. So I personally want to see the hunter being played, because it doesn't really matter what the opposing class is. If it's the rogue again, then the hunter is definitely best. But it's the warlock? Well, okay, this is...
Your soul shall be mine.
Zoo, yep. Knife Juggler almost gave it away. I wasn't 100% certain. It could still be a demon variant with the Mortal Cause and Power Elements and the Jugglers, so we'll wait and see about the other cards. And Tristan is running, it would seem like it's a Grim Patron, or it could be a control. Some control decks have added the Unstable Ghoul into there. Yep, it's definitely Grim Patron. Warsong Commander, that tells you. This is a pretty nice starting hand from random. Having turn 1 Imp plus turn 2 Juggler, definitely great. You can coin out the Void Caller on turn 3, which actually means this is the Demon variant. Turn 2 Unstable Ghoul, I guess safer than playing the Armor Smith. You could argue that going for the Armor Smith means that you're able to pump out more armor. But if you get the silence, would you want the Ghoul to be silenced or the Armor Smith silenced? I think that's a valid question. In this matchup, the Armor Smiths can actually be very, very, very important minions. If you're getting something like 2 to 3 armor from a single Armor Smith, you're buying yourself more time against the aggressions of the Zoo Warlock, so not playing it out right now could have been significant. The Acolyte of Pain by itself cannot challenge the Knife Juggler, but you don't want to be throwing out... Oh, since you've got 2 Warsong Commanders, then you might actually be okay by sacrificing, so to speak, one of these commanders. It is a very, very important card for this whole Grim Patron deck synergies to work out properly. So it'll be interesting to see if random actually goes for the trade into the Warsong Commander with this Knife Juggler. Definitely don't want to play the Void Terror. You could argue that in theory you could coin out the Void Caller. Yeah, the trade there was definitely the best option. I wholeheartedly agree that he should have done that trade. Dread Corsair in his hand right now is pretty much dead without any weapons. You don't want to be using a turn 4 just to put down a 3/3 taunt. On the other hand, playing the Armor Smith plus Hero Power means that random will be able to start churning out those 1/1 imps from the Imp Gang boss. So all of these cards in the hand are not so great for this situation. The Corsair doesn't die to the 2/4 Imp Gang boss, but does die to the 1/1s that it spawns, so... Oh, Thauri-san, that's gonna be interesting. If Tristan still has a hand on turn 6, then Thauri-san should get pretty good value, but I'm afraid he's gonna have to start dumping some of his minions on this turn already. Interestingly enough, though, random did not attack with the gang boss into the Corsair. I wonder why he would not do that. I guess the reasoning is that he doesn't want to trade the Imp Gang boss into the Dread Corsair with 2 attacks, because he only gets those 2 1/1s. Or if he's afraid of a brawl, then the brawl might be bad for him if the 1/1 survives. Yeah, I guess that could be a valid reason as well.
Let the pain speak to me.
Without Frothing or Warzone Commander, it's just basic Armor Smith plus Acolyte of Pain down at the board. Try and build yourself at least some sort of buffer. Try to get more value out of the Dread Corsair now that he dies by making him give you more armor. activating the egg plus this already attacked Void Caller with your own Void Terror is actually a significant swing in favor of Random. His 5/7 Doomguard will now be able to clear out the Armor Smith freely without contesting anything. The risk he takes with that is the fact that the Acolyte Pain will be able to draw 2 cards from the Imp Gang boss. But less armor is good. You're not so worried about the amount of cards that the Warrior has, I believe. The downside there is that Warriors still usually run Executes in, in this variant of Green Patron, and those Executes will get great value from the Doomguard if he were to draw more than 1 card from the Acolyte of Pain. Unfortunately for Random though, Tristan has his Execute already. Now to play Thorizon, or actually play value with the Execute plus something else like a War Axe plus Frothing. It's a difficult question. On the other hand, the War Axe is unable to remove anything by itself from the board unless you attack with the Armor Smith as well. And that would probably be the Nerubian, yep. He does not want this Doomguard to be alive for any longer than absolutely necessary. I respect that. Now, Random can go for the high-low roll of the Implosion. If he gets 2, then he'll just throw the Imp Gang boss into it, but if he gets 4, oh, well... 3 is not bad. You can silence it if you want. Actually ignore it and go for face once you silence it. But one could argue that going for the Imp Gang boss trade is not bad either. On the other hand, what other targets do you have for an owl against a warrior like this? I don't think there are any. Lots of basic 1/1Ms. There's the Grim Patron. Alright, now with the Warsong Commander, he'll be able to clear the board completely except for the Void Terror on turn 8. So all he has to do is survive this turn without us on the board, try to clear the board as much as possible. And now that he attacked into the Imp Gang boss when the board was completely full, the spawning of extra 1/1s was denied 100%. So actually now on turn 8, Tristan will be able to use the hero power as well, because these only cost 6 now. With the Direwolf Alpha, he'll be able to get some amazing value by using this Imp and this 2/1 to attack into Thorizon as trades. You could go for the Power Overwhelming into an Imp and just trade into the Thorizon as well, and then use all the other attacks with Direwolf Alpha to go for face. I like the Defender of Argus onto the Imp plus Void Terror combo as well, but that means you'd have to sacrifice all your other minions, so the Direwolf makes a bit more sense. And that's the play I have called first with the Owl. The downside here being that the Direwolf Alpha doesn't actually buff anything on its right side right now, so... Defender of Argus is gonna go down on the Void Terror. Actually not on the Void Terror, because BGH might be the deck. Playing it like this, you avoid the Terror from becoming a BGH target. Now, this board can still be cleared except for the Void Terror. And since the Void Terror is on the board, unless he draws into an Execute with the Slam, the Power Overwhelming will be able to end Tristan's game completely, even if he armors up. So I don't think there's an out right now. Even with Commander Patron, all of these will be cleared. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Void Terror will be left up. And he's using Slam on the 3-2 because, it's a 3-2 with the attack value, so he has to use the Slam to clear, so he can buff these Grim Patrons. But even with that, the 6/6 is still left alive. So this is all just theatrics. The strategic placement of that Direwolf actually ended up mattering because he had to use the Slam to clear at the 3-2. So which meant he could not draw any cards out of it. And there would be no resolution against this Void Terror. So Random takes back one match Zoos have been victorious for both players thus far. And Random still has the Druid and the Rogue left. The Rogue is weak against the Hunter. The Rogue is actually a bit weak against the Warrior as well. One could argue that the Warrior deck is just too stacked with small AoE in the way. Alright, there we go. Hunter versus Rogue. They should be the Hunters. Oh, this is a mid-range Hunter with Kazan Mystics teched in. Well, the Mystics are completely dead in this matchup because Random's decks, none of them run any secrets. So I understand why Tristan has decided to not play it before. And this is mid-range Hunter with Snake Traps, Animal Companions, basic stuff, nothing to play on turn 1. It actually makes the matchup much better for the Rogue player. I believe that the Rogue player will be able to race the Hunter with the correct draws, but these are not the correct draws. Double backstab, doing nothing against this board. Seeing if it's an explosive trap, it's a good call. But of course it's not. So now you can guess that it's a mid-range Hunter and it's either a freezing trap or a snake trap. More than likely it is a freezing trap at this stage because most mid-range Hunters don't usually run snake trap, and the freezing traps are pretty much auto-include.
I wonder.
For turn 3, I would actually like to see the Animal Companion more than the Eagle Horn Bow because there's even, well, if you put down the Animal Companion and then the Rogue clears the Animal Companion and the Snake Trap procs, then yes, you don't get the charge from the Eagle Horn Bow. So I kind of understand this, but why would you not attack with it though? If you value the charges from the bow just to clear minions, maybe that's the reason why you would not go for face here. The mid-range Hunter is, I guess it's not going for the aggressive plays, it's going for the long haul, which in itself is interesting, considering that the longer this match goes on, I think the more the Rogue is favored, because they'll be able to draw into their sprints and all the other mechanics. I completely respect that choice of going for the Coin Shredder because of the fact that the Farseer's Battle Cry Health Restore will easily make a big difference in this matchup. Backstab, attack with the 2-3 will be able to clear it. And another Pilot Shredder, perfectly on curve. I don't think there's really any other options. You could prep the Tinkers with one charge if you renew your daggers. You could, if you suspect it's a snake trap, you could go for the sap. But since it's mid-range, you want to go for the Savannah High Main saps. Or anything big or real. This is just the 3-mana Misha. It won't make a big difference for the Hunter. You could just go for the Misha hero power if nothing else. And the Shredder is just great on turn 4. There we go. One of those dagger charges will be used to clear out one of those snakes coming from the trap. And the Shredder will go down the board. Now for Tristan, turn 5. If you go for the Animal Companion, you can hope to get a Leok. With the Leok, you could actually clear out whatever comes from the Pilot Shredder once you've killed it with your horn. Bow. Eagle Horn Bow, full name. 2-3, that is problematic. If it's Huffer, That's actually one of the cases where you don't want Huffer because you're forced to use the Huffer on the 2-3. And it's not good value as a trade. So Huffer was the worst possible option to get from Animal Companion in that situation. Well, now the Rogue has an AoE. It has pretty nice mana, turn 5, Earth Ring plus hero power. It'll be interesting to see if he goes for the clear. Yeah, he goes for the minion clear. Just so the minions alone cannot take out the 3-3, so I sort of respect that decision. He'll have to use the last charge from his bow. The Savannah will be sapped on this turn number 6. I wonder if he'll go for the backstab into the Haunted Creeper. Ah, well, perhaps Sprint is not bad either. You get more options available for you, and if nothing else, you can always just play the sap on the 6-5 anyway. Yep. The other play could have been to backstab the 1-2 and AoE out the 1-1s, but that's a bit wasteful. So I prefer this play as well. 7. You could go Lothab hero power, but just replaying the Savannah means that the rogue still has to handle it. And there's no easy way to get rid of it. Resap it. Go for the SI7. Or the Azure Drake. What would the SI7 say? Well, it could kill off the beast, so you would not have any activators for the kill command. Azure Drake. Into Azure Drake. Yep, nice draws. Double sap. There's not going to be better targets for it, so... Yep, there we go. Maybe a Savannah Highman with buff from the Houndmaster, that would have been better, but you don't want to go waiting for that for all day. Now that the beast was not clear, the kill command was effectively used to kill off the Azure Drake. Unfortunately for Tristan though, the Lothab will not be able to cripple this turn. Random can still go for the Azure Drake SI7 agent play. Second Blade Flurry? I would argue using the combo against the 5-5 would be the best possible option, because then he cannot trade the Lothab into any of your minions for value. Edwin would just be a 4-4. Oh, I think randoms is lethal. The reason why you go for the face damage with the 3-3 is because you might have lethal in your hand next turn. Tinker plus target plus Blade Flurry, how much is that? The 3-3 survives for 8. Exactly 16 damage. So yeah, with the face damage, it's lethal if only the 4-4 gets cleared. If both the 4-4 and the 3-3 get cleared, then it's not lethal. Tristan's choices, you could go for the Ragnaros Web Spinner. We hope that the Ragnaros takes out the minion from the opposing side of the board. Unleash the Hounds. So, well, with the Savannah kill command, we're gonna see both removed. The good thing for random is that both kill commands has been used, but the bad thing is this board state is just horrible, horrible. The worst possible board state you can imagine right now. Big minions, and both your saps are used. Really no way of clearing this effectively. You don't have daggers ready. No way to pop the Death Rattle from the 6-5. Maybe use Eviscerate to the face. You can still tank it. There's gonna be 13, 14 from the minions. No, sorry, 12 from the minions. 2 from Hero Power, 8 from Ragnaros. So that's 22. Backstab Eviscerate, you can proc the Death Rattle. Then Hero Power. And maybe Sharp Sword on? Blade Flurry? No, you can't use that yet. You can just go for the 1-1 and go for the Flurry. Alright. Since you're holding 2 furries, then... Ah, the fan of knives. That's a very, very clever play. I would not have seen that myself, because I counted that there wasn't enough mana to do the fan of knives this turn in any case. Oh, how wrong I was. Random able to clear the board completely. This Ragnaros, though, difficult to try and handle. The healbot will be able to undo 1 attack. The SS7 agent being combined out onto the board would mean that Ragnaros would have 2 targets, and you could pop out the hero power this turn, wait for the activators. Don't attack with it this turn. Yep. I guess I agree with Edwin more than SS7 because of his raw stats. And the SS7 agent's combo would not have done anything significant. Juggler Unleash. If at least one juggle hits the 3-3, then the doggies will be able to clear it out. And the web spinner coming down as well enables 1 more juggle. The web spinner first, then hero power. I don't see value in playing the Mystic over the hero power. Yes, you're risking lethal, but if Ragnaros hits the 4-4 Edwin, you're still golden as Tristan. What would the benefit of Kezan Mystic be over hero power right now? Does he need it for lethal next turn? I don't think so. The web spinner is a no-brainer in any case. You get 1 juggle out of it more if you go for the Mystic. But on the other hand, you're holding onto 1 card. And is it going for Edwin? It's going for Edwin. If it had not gone for Edwin, and this deckhand... Well, this deckhand is still actually lethal, isn't it? Deckhand, Tinker, Flurry, SI7. Oh no, double Tinker. Yeah, double Tinker still works. 8 + 7, exact lethal. So top deck lethal there, even with that sniper rag. Means random gets the game with his old rogue. He only has got his combo druid left, that's what he played last week, so I'm assuming he's going to be playing it this week as well. And against the druid, the mid-range hunter is going to have a hard time. And the patron warrior is actually going to have a hard time as well. The patron warrior matchup against the druid is more even, so I think you would want to go for the harder hunter match first. Because you need to win with everything you've got, and if you win with the hunter against bad draws from the druid, you would be better off with the warrior in the last match. So start with the weaker match. Well, let's see whether his polished spectacles are able to reveal, and it is correct. The mid-range hunter makes a comeback against the druid.
I must protect the wild.
The Wrath is an instant keeper, the Keeper of the Grove is an instant keeper, and the Sludge Belcher might even be a keeper. You're playing against something other than face though, so the Belcher could be discarded and traded for something else. You could get a Shade or an Innervate. Wow, even discarding the Keeper, that's ballsy. There are so many good targets, like the Juggler and silencing big things, and even a Huffer is a great target for that Keeper of the Grove. Well, I guess he doesn't value his early game that much. There's a Shade, you don't want to innervate it this turn. You don't have anything to combine things into, so just going to be hero power this turn. And for Tristan, I expect to see the Knife Juggler because you want to be the aggressor in this matchup. If the Druid is able to build a board and finish you with the Force of Nature Savage Roar combo, which he already has, oh my, it's going to be very difficult. The Shade is risky because if the Hunter player gets 2 drops onto the board and they both juggle into the shade, then it's just gonna get killed off. But it's still a risk worth taking because any of the other plays make no sense. Following turn you can go for the Wrath into the Knife Juggler, Hero Power, whatever comes out. I think the Animal Companion for the Hunter right now is the best call. You don't want to be coining out the Shredder. The coin can be more value later on. So the Companion, if it draws Misha, your 3-2 is safe from the shade. If it's Huffer, you'll be aggressive. Leok, 1 more attack. All of these options are pretty good, and it is the highest impact card. Oh wow. Knife Juggler means coining out Freezing Trap and going for face. This means he wants to aggressively remove the Shaded Naxxramas with just the juggles before it gets value. Using Defensive Force of Nature would be bad, and I do not recommend it. The only downside... Oh, actually, is it that bad? If you use the Defensive Force of Nature right now, you get one of those charges back into your hand. And those 2/2s that are left on the board clear out both the jugglers, and that's pretty great value. Compared to Wrath, Cycle plus Hero Power, you only get rid of one of those Knife Jugglers. If he runs double combo with double Force of Nature, you could argue for it. So either Wrath Cycle, Hero Power, or go for the... Yep, I think this is the more manly move. Just go for the Force of Nature and see if it's the Freezing Trap, because you expect it to be the Freezing Trap. And get at least one mana charging to back into your hand. Of course it will cost 3, but still. And your lovely Trents will handle this nuisance called the Knife Juggler. Leaving the Shade. Stealth is the right move, and Random does not miss it. It is looking good for Random right now. This Shredder by itself is not enough of a threat, and top decking a Druid of the Claw. Of course you're gonna go for the Innervate Dr. Boom. I think you go for it. If you go for the Druid of the Claw, file 4/6 taunt, the Hunter might have answers to it. And you still have a turn 6 play in the Druid of the Claw. You can accelerate into the Dr. Boom nicely. And what can the Shredder do? It can clear out bombs, that's pretty much it. And that's not enough in this matchup. Here we go, Innervate. Boom. Dr. Balanced coming out. This is fun to cast, this one. It's Random makes the plays that you really want him to make. And the boom bots will kill off. There we go. Exactly as I predicted. The Loatheb will deny the Savage Roar. If you charge the Druid of the Claw into the 5/5, then you can attack the bomb into it. See where it juggles. I would even consider using the 7/7 to clear the 1/3, but using the boom to clear out Loatheb, and then Druid of the Claw as a 4/6. The odds of the Hunter having anything to buff the Mana Addict significantly are fairly low. Of course, this is the safer play. This is the Shaded Naxxramas can be used to clear out the 1/3. Then just go for the taunting Druid of the Claw. The downside here being that the Shade can now be destroyed with a single kill command even without activation from a beast, or with a quick shot, or pretty much anything. Huffer? Well, Huffer will just die to the Druid of the Claw, so it's worth nothing right now. The Ancient Allure for more cards. Well, if you go for the Savage Roar, it's not... Is it lethal yet? Is it 13? 16? I guess it is. Yep, it is exactly lethal. So we get Random from Germany going to the final with a 3-1 score over Tristan from Leaf Gaming. Congratulations to him, we'll see him in the final. We will, on the stream, move to semifinal number 2 in just a short while. Don't go anywhere, we will be right back.